Kadok balaan na sir. Kadok balaan.
Live ta? Sa YouTube. Hi guys, good morning. Nami karon sa among Symposium guys. Like and subscribe lang po. Super lamig. Ito po kami ang symposium sa mga doktor, mga boss, ito mga staff. Yan mga staff sila. So marami po kami mga friends dito. Yan. So malapit na po mag-umpisa ng aming symposium ng mga doctors. Guys,
pwede ako mag-extra nito.
Extra.
Daw ginugol. Kayo sa kayo nagli.
Oh, ito to. Sir. Guys, muna yung mga kauban guys. So, meet the beautiful girl sa among PT. Si Miss Christine. Miss
Nakalain ang gawa na kalbot. Miss, lain na.
Okay, Miss Reyes. So, dahil sa sobrang ganda po niya, nakalimutan yung pangalan niya. Sorry po, Miss Reyes. Sir Pete, siya po ang X-ray. X-ray. Si Sir Verse yung head X-ray. Siya pong YC sa X-ray. Yan.
Ako ang ulo.
Ulo.
Ulo ng extra.
Gwapong bata to. Sana all.
Gagi.
Ito pala, meet yung mga sekretary namin sa CY. Yan, siya po si Ma'am Shelly, Shirley, yung muse namin. Yan. Di ba maganda. Lahat po namin mga staff sa CY puro maganda. Yan. Yung bagong bata namin dyan, 18 years old yan. Batang bata pa. Yung nurse namin, ito si Ma'am Love, sa Ma'am LA. Yung cashier namin, yung maganda. Yan. Shout out.
Gilabayan ako si Ma'am Ruby.
Special na siya. Yan. Ito namin, parang hindi security, pero security. Security. Okay, go. Security. Ma'am Robs. Tanggalin mo ng mask mo. Yan, yun ang, di ba, red lips? Yan, special niya, di ba? Red lips yan. Siya po, si Ma'am Ruby, yung cashier namin. Sila po mga doctors namin. Yan. Uy, may nakalimutan ako. Si Sir Kinit. Yan.
Hi guys.
Yung messenger namin. Yung gwapo yan, gwapo. Sana all. Yung pinaka dulo si Miss Joyan, yung maganda naming IT front desk. Yan.
Integrity, compassion, dedication, and commitment to your health and life. This is the service and care you're bound to receive once you step into our clinic. We have invested in advanced equipment for clinic services,
Para kita ang gulo ba?
so access to immediate diagnosis for your ailments is made
Tanawan nyo.
to you at an affordable price. Our clinic staff will attend to your needs to make sure your visit to any worries is comfortable and safe. You can get more than just animate. With frequent consultations and ourselves for challenging situations, our specialist can give you a consensus opinion and when needed.
Pupunta ako sa cellphone ako, ibili lang. Itong mga monitor ba ako sige.
Manang bago.
Hindi, ibili na ako ang bago. Mga ito gamit ito pagkuhan. Bisa di ba? Ito nagmas ba? Ito. Buti ang monitor. Mata ko live monitor. Yung cellphone ako. Buti. Ako yung mga pasok message. Kaway-kaway, Chip. Sa internet.
Compassion, dedication, and commitment to your health and life. This is the service and care you are about to receive by the system into our clinic. We have invested in the latest equipment for clinic services, so access to immediate diagnosis and treatment for your ailments is made available to you at an affordable price. The clinic staff will attend to your needs to make sure your visit to any service is as comfortable and safe. You can get more than just an opinion. With frequent consultations among themselves for challenging situations, our specialist can give you a consensus opinion if and when needed. Here at the Severe Orthopedic Institute, you just don't get a doctor. You get a specialized team of experts providing you with world-class orthopedic care. We care for you. We care for your family. We treat you as family.
COI, combining world-class orthopedic care and the Cebu Orthopedic Institute. We are the Cebu Orthopedic Institute at your service.
The Cebu Orthopedic Institute, providing you with world-class orthopedic care. Integrity, compassion, dedication, and commitment to your health and welfare. This is the service and care you are bound to receive once you step into our clinic. We have invested in the latest equipment for clinic services, so access to immediate diagnosis and treatment for your ailments is made available to you at an affordable price. Our clinic staff will tend to your needs, make sure your visit to any of our facilities is comfortable and safe. You can get more than just an opinion. With frequent consultations among themselves for challenging situations, our specialists can give you a consensus opinion if and when needed. Here at the Cebu Orthopedic Institute, you just don't get a doctor. You get a specialized team of experts providing you with world-class orthopedic care. We care for you. We care for your family. We treat you as family.
I have COI.
Hi, Doc.
I am COI. 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 I am COI, providing world-class orthopedic care at the Cebu Orthopedic Institute. We are the Cebu Orthopedic Institute at your service.
The Cebu Orthopedic Institute, providing you with world-class orthopedic care.
Hi guys, ito pa lang mga raffle prices mga doctors. So marami po, ang dami po mga raffle price. Yan. Daming raffle price.
Compassion, dedication, and commitment to your health and welfare. This is the service and care you are bound to receive once you step into our clinic. We have invested in the latest equipment for clinic services, so access affordable price. Our clinic staff will attend to your needs to make sure your visit to any of our facilities is comfortable and safe. You can get more than just an opinion. With frequent consultations about themselves for challenging situations, our specialist can give you a consensus opinion. Here at the Cebu Orthopedic Institute, you just don't get a doctor. You get a specialized team of experts providing you with world-class orthopedic care. We care for you. We care for your family. We treat you as family.
I am COI.
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 I am COI, providing world-class orthopedic care at the Cebu
Pwede mo kayo?
Orthopedic Institute.
Barcelona ang
We are the
Barcelona ang password.
Vlog mo good ko. Nag-live ko sa YouTube. Mahina akong dita ko.
The Cebu Orthopedic
Barcelona?
Oh,
Institute,
Barcelona.
providing you with
Ako na YouTube. Test. Siya po manager namin. Ma'am Cecil. Sa live YouTube. Si
Binabati ko yung kapamilya ko sa
Mega Love, shout out sa lahat. 1 million views.
Mama, nandito pa ako sa Cebu.
Bita live nata sa OFW kasi may mga parents sa OFW.
binabati ko po yung
Binabati mo girlfriend mo saan? Binabati mo girlfriend mo saan?
sa Makes sense.
Ha?
Hello, good morning everyone. My name is Peachy Hando. I'm an orthopedic surgeon from the Cebu Orthopedic Institute, and we are all here to help this reunion of our annual symposium in person. The past 2 years we have been doing this as an online webinar, so we are all glad that you will be joining us today for our 18th annual symposium. So let's start first our program with the invocation. It's going to be led by
Yes, I'm Joy.
Let's all stand up for prayer.
Nasa luyod.
Let us put ourselves in the holy presence of God. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Eternal God, I pray that you bless us in our event today and enlighten us with grace and wisdom. Lord, make your face shine on us as we go on with this symposium. We pray that you give us the gift of patience, gratitude that focuses upon you, and your plans for us as your beloved followers. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you very much, Ma'am Joy, and please listen for our Philippine National Anthem. You may all have a seat. So we'll start our program today with our lunch symposium. Our guest speaker this morning is a graduate of the University of the Philippines, Integrated Arts and Medicine Program Director of Medicine. He then took his residency in the same institution for general surgery and plastic and reconstructive surgery. He then pursued fellowship training in hand and microvascular surgery fellowship at the State University of New York. He also earned his master's degree in science in clinical medicine, as well as in hospital management. He is a board-certified plastic surgeon, fellow of the Philippine College of Surgeons, fellow of the Philippine Association of Plastic and Reconstructive and Aesthetic Surgeons. At present, he is an associate professor at the UPPGH College of Medicine, chief of the Alfredo Ramirez Burn Center in UPPGH, chief of plastic surgery in St. Luke's Medical Center, Global City, board of directors, member of the Philippine Wound Care Society. He is affiliated with several hospitals like St. Luke's Global in Quezon City, Manila Doctors Hospital, PGH, Medical Center Manila, Gentry Medical Center, Asian Hospital, and Makati Medical Center. Friends, I give to you the floor to Dr. Glenn Angelo Genuino, and his talk is about nurturing wound healing, a review of the literature guidelines. Welcome, Dr. Genuino, and thank you very much for sharing your time with us.
Sir, nakalive to sa YouTube. So, kung sa kung channel.
Yeah, I could hear you. Yeah. Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay, sige. So I'm coming in loud and clear. Okay. Again, good morning to everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. It's really an honor and privilege to be speaking in front of all of you. I'm online right now. And congratulations to the Philippine Orthopedic, the Cebu Orthopedic Institute for this annual symposium of yours. And I'm glad that you're beginning to have face-to-face sessions with it. Now, to start my talk, this is something I noticed some time ago. I chanced upon these in our little farm, Cavite. These are actually mango trees. And I asked our farm hand why he actually put some hack marks into the tree. And his answer was, of course, it was in Tagalog. He said, kailangan masugatan para mamuha. Our thought for the day then is one must first be wounded in order to bear fruit. So before we all move on with your other activities, you must first bear with me, but I certainly hope that it will be worth your while. So as clinical practitioners in the surgical field, whether we like it or we are oftentimes called to manage different kinds of wounds, whether they be acute wounds, whether they be acute wounds, chronic wounds, oncologic wounds, or perhaps our run-of-the-mill surgical incision. A mentor of mine once said that the goal of our wound management is to allow the body to go through its natural processes of wounding. Nurture normal wounding. A lot of what we do actually provides for obstacles to wounding. But what we have to do is to provide the environment or the milieu to allow normal wound healing processes to occur. Everybody would remember this chart illustrating the normal phases of wound healing. This is what we actually hope to achieve in every patient of ours. To have as a result closure of the wound, hopefully with a very noticeable. But at times, this is not what actually happens. And we end up with such unpleasant results. And then we think, this happened. We just did a perfectly executed surgical procedure, and then this. However, is it really always about us? We certainly would like to hear that little voice saying, it's not you, it's me. So this morning, I'm tasked to talk about nurturing or perhaps enhancing a review of the literature and the guidelines. Hopefully, I will be able to provide some answers to the many questions we have on this huge subject matter of wounding. I really do hope I do justice to this topic, so that in a manner of speaking, it would be worth your wounding. Or do we sit down first, reflect, and map out our battle plan, our strategy, making the necessary preparation both for us and the patient before we go on to do our surgery? Our body sage once said, knowing is half the battle. That's why I say the G.I. Joe. It is therefore my aim to be able to integrate some of the learning from various papers, guidelines, and institutional protocols on this very vast topic of factors that affect wounding. And hopefully, the snippets that I present this morning will provide each and every one some practical guides in our clinical practice. So these are some of the references I studied and cited. Citations would be found on the slides presented. So in managing wounds, this is one of the most important tenets we all have. Wound care expert Dr. Gary Sipolas mentioned this. We treat the patient and not just the hole in the patient. Others, notably Dr. Lefatik, that have stated this in a more straightforward manner. We treat the entire patient and not just the wound. So now in wound healing or wound management, one actually talks about intrinsic and extrinsic factors. When we talk about intrinsic factors, we generally refer to the factors being the actual wound care we perform, the local factors of the wound in particular. We also talk about a prevailing concept or guiding principle in the evaluation and management of the wound. This is called the time concept, acronym time. We also refer to the surgical techniques that may foster expeditious wound closure. I will not, however, be talking about these this morning. This is actually the subject matter of another talk of mine. What I shall be dealing with this morning would be mostly the realm of the extrinsic factors. Attention we have to give to systemic factors affecting wound healing, most notably nutrition, the medical issues, and the psychosocial aspects of the patient with a wound. In this talk, I will actually be focusing on the first two aspects. In the management of wounds, we must realize that it is necessary, I'm sure you realize this earlier, it's necessary to the patient vomited medical concerns. For instance, diabetes, vascular disease, the role of cigarette smoking. This guideline actually states that cigarette smoking is associated with impeded wound healing, a higher incidence of wound complications, and that patients need to stop smoking at least 3 to 4 weeks prior to elective surgery and not restart smoking cigarettes for the post-operative period. Although admittedly difficult to carry out, especially in some subsets of patients. So this is a guideline I actually really take to heart and exert all efforts to enforce, especially where most of the cases are elective cases where there's actually the luxury of time. We move on to the ever important but oft neglected role of nutrition in healing. Now, this guideline actually is stated as simple as nutrition must be adequate. This classic table of Dr. Demling in his article, Nutrition, Anabolism, and the wound healing process, an overview, the reference of which is listed below, is illustrative of the relationship of malnutrition or reduction in lean body mass and wound healing. Now, the table says a 10% reduction in lean body mass is actually associated with impaired immunity, increased infection, and a 10% mortality. A 20% reduction is associated with decreased healing, weakness, infection, and 30% mortality. At 30% reduction in lean body mass, the patient is too weak. This is when pressure ulcers actually develop, pneumonia develops, and there's actually poor healing. And this is associated with a 50% mortality rate. At 40% reduction in lean body mass, what this issue results in death, usually from pneumonia, and 100% associated mortality. One, however, has to realize that malnutrition does not only pertain to undernutrition. The WHO has called our attention to what is termed the double burden of malnutrition. The more commonly known definition of malnutrition is that of food and calorie deficit or undernutrition. However, one has to be aware of malnutrition in persons overfed in terms of energy, but are found to be lacking in one or more nutrients, oftentimes found in those who are obese. Obesity does have its effects on healing. This guideline states that obesity is associated with a higher incidence of wound complications. This should actually be seriously considered, especially in elective operations. Obesity in a patient carries with it an increased risk of surgical site infections, wound dehiscences in the abdominal area, hernias, and even in complications at sites distant from the wound. Let's now move on to management aspects of nutrition in a patient. In the realm of macronutrients, proteins remain to be the rock star. Protein remains to be the rock star in terms of wound healing, playing a significant role in enhancing healing. Now, this table shows the following. In the normal condition, the protein requirement is at 0.8 grams per kilo per day. However, with the presence of a wound or stress responses, such as a surgical procedure, protein requirement could go as high as 1.5 to 2 grams per kilo per day. Nutrition guidelines formulated by Pressure Ulcer Group, the National Pressure Ulcer Advisory Panel, European Pressure Ulcer Advisory Panel, and the Pan-Pacific Pressure Injury Alliance White Paper, have actually mentioned the following: the need for adequate protein in adults with a pressure ulcer, and provision of 1.25 to 1.5 grams protein per kilo body weight daily for adults with a pressure ulcer or also at risk of malnutrition. That is, when this is compatible, of course, with the objectives of care. And there is also the need to do re-evaluation as the patient's condition changes. Now, the International Society for Burn Injuries has come up with this guideline on protein provision in patients with burns. The quote: for patients with burn area more than 20% of their body surface area, a high protein diet should be given, and this is in addition to the provision of enough calories to meet the energy requirements of the patient. So in adults, 1.5 to 2 grams, and in children, as high as 3 grams per kilo per day. Now, in the center where I work in, we have actually adopted these ISBI guidelines. Now, let's talk about the role of amino acids, sometimes labeled under the term aminonutrients, which is also much talked about and continues to be undergoing a lot of study. These are the amino acids that are basic in transit management, using beta-hydroxynitrate, HMB, and glutamate. Let's take a look at the recommendations. The European Society of Parenteral and Enteral Nutrition stated that in malnourished patients or to undergo major cancer surgery, peri or at least post-operative administration of specific formulas with immunonutrients is to be administered. There is, however, presently no clear evidence for their administration vis-a-vis standard ONS solely in the pre-operative period. Other societies have come up with guidance. Aspen in 2009 has a strong recommendation for undernourished oncologic patients who are to go to an operative procedure. The French guidelines in 2012, they recommend pre-operative pharmacotherapy for 5 to 7 days in patients who are for elective digestive cancer operations. And this is for cases where the patient is either malnourished or not. The ESPEN, the European Group Nutrition in Cancer Patients, in 2016 has a strong recommendation for patients who are to undergo resection for gastrointestinal cancer. Of course, this is within the background of carrying out conventional perioperative care. In the burn center where I work in, we administer nutrient supplementation in patients with moderate and major burns and in cases of major burn or reconstructive surgery. And finally, we talk about the role of micronutrients. This is but a short list of the various micronutrients essential in wound healing and their functions. I will be discussing in particular vitamin C and zinc, which we have much utilized in my clinical practice. Vitamin C. Vitamin C has been found to play a significant role in actually all wound healing phases. Now, in France and others, the guidelines mention the healing of acute wounds by decreasing impediments of healing. It is stated that, quote, there is insufficient evidence to recommend specific exogenous nutrients such as vitamin C to improve acute wound healing in patients who are not deficient in those nutrients. In the 2014 nutrition guidelines on the NPWA, PBP, the IAA, it is stated that one is to, quote, again, provide, encourage an individual with a pressure ulcer to take vitamin and mineral supplementation or supplements when dietary intake is poor or deficiencies are confirmed or suspected. Generally mentioned in these guidelines will be the states of poor intake and the presence of a deficiency state for administration of this micronutrient to be recommended. There are, however, some very relevant points to consider. These micronutrients, however, are known to be utilized, excreted at a faster rate, especially after injury and wounding, and that there are actually well-documented deficiencies. This is in Deming's paper. Now, some clinicians then would say, or would venture into the idea of having patients tested first for levels of these micronutrients prior to giving them. But it has, however, been described to be impractical to routinely measure levels of these micronutrients. For one, it's found to be costly to begin with. And as mentioned, several data have documented deficiency states. As such, a proactive stance is actually taken to prevent such deficiencies by provision of increased intake. And in Deming's paper, he actually cited some references. Although dosaging of various micronutrients is not well delineated, some of the literature would actually mention a dose of 5 to 10 times the recommended daily allowance to be subscribed until the resolution of wound stress and healing of the wound. The following is also are some of the listed risk factors for vitamin C deficiency that we all should be aware of. One would actually probably recognize some of the patients we manage and perhaps operate on in this list. Those with increased alcohol intake, seniors with limited food intake, people who do not consume fruits or vegetables, smokers, diabetic patients. So we take note on the role of smoking again vis-a-vis vitamin C once more. Smokers have actually been found having vitamin C requirement, and they are noted to actually have low vitamin C levels. Now, let's move on further and take a look at the US perspective. Their guidelines on dietary intake actually presently recommend that a person have 5 to 9 servings of fruit and vegetables per day. However, their studies actually point to a relatively small proportion of their population routinely meeting this. And I would venture into asking each of us, how many of us actually reach 5 to 9 servings of fruit and vegetables per day? In the UK, they have what is called the 5-a-day recommendation. So it's pretty much similar. That is 5 80-gram portions of fruits and vegetables. And this is to exclude starchy vegetables like potatoes. This, however, may include 1 small glass of juice, 1 portion of meat or protein. And the UK also has this Eat-Well guide. In their National Diet and Nutrition Survey, they actually found that few of their adults meet nutritional guidelines. In the same survey, the National Diet and Nutrition Survey, which covered the last 9 years, involving all age and sex groups, the average of intake of fruits and vegetables was actually found to be less than the 5-a-day recommendation. Only 30% of the adults and 10% of 11 to 18-year-olds met the recommendation. And in the study of Mossroll and others, they found that 25% of males, 16% of females in low-income or materially deprived populations have actually vitamin C deficiency in terms of plasma vitamin C concentration. They found that in their country, fresh fruits, vegetables are thought of as costly, and there is actually a bias towards starchy food that tend to be more filling and less costly. It pretty much sounds familiar also in our current setup here in our country. Now, the NDNS data also in the UK show the downward slope for vitamin and mineral intake. And dietary intake is not up to par with guidelines of all ranges of income groups. Let's now look at the Philippine perspective, especially in terms of the proportion of households households, meeting the recommended energy intake and the estimated average requirement in terms of energy, protein, and micronutrients. The 2015 data of the Food and Nutrition Research Institute, Department of Science and Technology, only 32.5% of Filipino households actually met the REI and AR of vitamin C. That's quite low. And upon their specifying the data in the rural and urban households, it's quite interesting to note that the bigger proportion of rural households actually meet the REI and AR of vitamin C, 34.7% versus only 30% of urban households, among the rural areas. Their data are stratified by what revealed quite interestingly that the middle quintile, the middle income group, had the lowest proportion of households, only 28.5% meeting the REI and AR of vitamins. Middle, less than the rich, less than the poor, less than the poorest, and less than the richest in this table. Quite interesting findings. And the data would actually not be surprising when one is to take note of this table of the top 30 commonly consumed food items and the proportion of households consuming these. And the top 10 to 20, only a few of food items listed are vegetables. So let's now take a look into the current recommendations for vitamins. Institutional recommendations like the clinical nutrition support service, the hospital of the University of Pennsylvania, recommending patients with pressure of stage 1, coming before or week 4, those undergoing negative pressure wound therapy, size 1,000 milligrams, and in renal failure patients. In our burn center, this is actually what we follow, first considering each adult patient's condition. Let's now move our discussion to the micronutrients zinc. This is a statement of the significant role of zinc, especially in the realm of the important function in cells and wound repair processes. A major role in the regulation of